George, thank you so much for being here tonight. As a fellow actor, I wanted to ask you, you being on Star Trek was pretty revolutionary at the time because I think a lot of Asian Americans at the time were being called Asian back in the late 60s, and you being on that show was a huge accomplishment. And at the same time, the show actually pushed forward a lot of racial boundaries in entertainment, such as the first interracial kiss, and also one of the first Asian Americans that was a strong Asian American and just playing a person. Can you talk a little bit about you on the show, and also about how you felt being a forerunner, and if you felt that at the time even?
I think the credit really goes to Gene Roddenberry, the man who created the series, because when I went in for that interview, I recognized immediately this could be a breakthrough role, not only for me individually as an actor, but for Asian Americans to be in a part of the leadership team, speaking without an accent, being the best helmsman. And incidentally, I was the helmsman of the Enterprise at a time when the stereotype was Asians are bad drivers. Sulu was the best driver in Starfleet. Gene's vision, well, for example, there was this phrase that was coined, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. He felt that the Starship Enterprise was a metaphor for Starship Earth, and the strength of this starship lay in its diversity, coming together and working in concert as a team and facing a common challenge by being able to see it from this vantage point, from this experiential vantage point, from this cultural vantage point, and we can arrive at a solution to dealing with that challenge much better with diversity than with a singular view. And also, life on board the Enterprise is that much richer because of that diversity. He also wanted to use science fiction as a metaphor to deal with various issues of the time. And so for people that wanted to look beyond the science fiction plot, you saw that many of the stories dealt with the civil rights movement, or the Vietnam War, or the Cold War. We had a Russian accented navigator named Chekhov, proud of his Russian heritage, at a time of the Cold War, as a trusted member of the team. So he was an extraordinary visionary and a philosopher in many ways, as well as a great storyteller and a strong producer. And so I was very, very fortunate to be able to be selected by him with that kind of vision that he had for the show. Alas, we were very low rated. I guess we were a little bit before our time. And despite the fact that we announced at the beginning of each episode that we were boldly going on a 5-year mission, we discovered that the most destructive alien life form wasn't out there in the galaxies, but in the corridors of the NBC programming executives. They aborted us after 3 years, but we showed them. We came back as a feature film 10 years later, and then we started spinning off a lot of other, we consider the spin-off shows our children. They wouldn't have been possible without us.